Hello, and welcome back to the cheesiest place on earth. Today, well, not just today, but I'm your host, Cheese Puff, and today we are going to be talking about the Season 20 weapon tuning preview that Bungie did, just released not too long ago. So, this is going over quite a few different things that are going to be added in next season, which is very exciting. Cannot wait for those. I don't know why that is not working, interestingly enough. Okay, cool. But this is all from Chris Proctor. He does go over talking about Season 19's mid-balance updates. They did bring several changes to address weapons in PvP. And Season 20, with a new campaign and raid incoming, we focused on a substantial overpass for heavy weapons in PvE, adding subclass verbs to several exotic weapons, tying in with the new anti-champion capabilities these verbs now have, which is honestly amazing with how many of the different verbs that we do have. It's very, very exciting to see all of these changes coming. But yeah, between the new weapon changes and everything else that's new or changing in Lightfall, we're looking forward to seeing what combinations players settle on the Legendary campaign and the Day 1 raid. So we already have, a decent amount to unpack there that we have seen in the past. They're just kind of reiterating that, but we do get more information on that down below. Okay, and now let's go ahead and move on over to the weapon archetypes. When playing on console, your reticle will turn red when it's over an enemy that's inside your weapon's effective range. This is a useful visual aid that we've wanted to be global for a while, so we've also enabled this on PC. In a future season, we'll be making this color customizable, similar to the base reticle color. Red reticle is now enabled on PC. Okay, interesting. So, I'm wondering if that's meaning, like the outline of the enemy, or if that's just your weapon reticle. I'm not entirely sure how to check on that and see what that's all about. But next, linear fusion rifles. Probably saw this coming. Linear fusion rifles outperform other heavy weapons for boss damage by a wide margin and have had plenty of time in the sun. You're right about that. We've been bringing them down enough for other options to compete. At the same time, exotic heavy linear fusion rifles don't do enough to justify using one over a legendary, so they're not affected by this nerf, which is amazing. So let's see, reduced damage versus champions, mini bosses, and vehicles by 15%. So that's not as bad as I was expecting. I was thinking they were going to go like 20 or 25%, but 15 is perfectly fine. I'll take it. Sleeper Simulant and Queen Breaker are unaffected. Sleeper fans, this is not a drill, which is wonderful because Sleeper Simulant is fantastic gun, let me tell you. Okay, machine guns. This one I'm actually very excited to see what we got going on. Machine guns have been buffed a few times over the past year or so, but only in PvE. We've opted to increase their base damage a little, which makes them more forgiving to use in PvP. The buff also applies across the board in PvE. PvP damage is typically the base, and PvE has multipliers on top of that. We're also substantially increasing machine gun reserves, giving them higher uptime, particularly useful in hard content. That's amazing because I really enjoy using machine guns, and I wish I could use them in GMs and stuff like that. And hopefully these changes will definitely highlight that. But that's the stats. Increased damage by around 10%. with the following effects. On time to kill against a Guardian with tier 6 resilience. High impact frame, TTK reduced from 0.67 to 0.50. Rapid fire, TTK reduced from 0.53 to 0.47. And adaptive, TTK unchanged at 0.53. Alright, increased reserve ammo by 50%. Oh, at 0 inventory stat and 20% at 100. Okay, wow, that's actually pretty massive. Alright. Inventory stat is a 0 to 100 value behind the scenes. This is presented as the actual number of rounds in the game. But you can take this to mean that low reserves machine guns get a big boost, while large reserve machine guns get a smaller boost. So I wonder... Ooh, okay. I know they didn't mention it specifically, but low reserve machine guns. Xenophage? Xenophage getting more ammo? I don't know, we'll have to find out. That seems pretty nice. That'd be awesome if it was. We'll we'll have to see what happens. Alrighty. Heavy grenade launchers. They haven't been touched in a while and are substantially below some other heavy options for damage. On top of that, grenade launcher projectiles have travel time, a ballistic arc, and a relatively small blast radius. They got that right. So it can be hard to consistently land shots on a moving target, and they may hit fewer targets with the explosion than you'd expect. With this change, heavy grenade launchers should be significantly more useful in PvE and easier to use in both PvE and PvP. Okay, well, shoot, Justin has no problem hitting me with his what was it called? The memory the future. Is that future war called? The FWC Amalon grenade launcher. I think that's what it is. Memory perfect. I don't know. I'll find a picture of it and put it up on screen. But whenever we're doing private matches, absolutely no trouble hitting me. Tell you what. Alrighty. So, increased damage versus champions, mini bosses, bosses, and vehicles by 20%. Miners by 40. Improved projectile collision, making it slightly easier to land hits. Okay, increased blast radius by 1 meter. Holy crap, okay. Parasite is unaffected. It does huge damage already. Wait a minute. You know what they didn't say? Anarchy. Anarchy's back from the dead. Oh, Anarchy's back from the dead. I'm so excited. Okay, now that just basically completely reverts the nerf it had before. Okay, I am happy about that. Shotguns. We'll move on. The new shotgun reticles show the correct spread pattern, but in its shipping form, the size of the reticle wasn't affected by the current spread angle, which will change if you jump, or with magazine options like smoothbore. Interesting. This change should make the reticle accurate in most ways at 85-degree field of view, which I do play in often. A change to make this accurate for all FOV options will come in a future season. Interesting. Okay, shotgun reticles now change inside proportionally to spread angle. Related note, the Legend of Acrius hipfire reticle is now a bit more representative of its very large spread angle. Neat. Haven't tried that out in a while, but that seems interesting. I'll have to see what that looks like after a while. Alrighty. Kinetic weapons. Kinetic slot weapons have always done 5% more damage versus unshielded targets in PvE. This meant that kinetic slot stasis weapons were straight up better, with functionality and no downside. Or with extra functionality and no downside, sorry. Oh, excuse me. We wanted to give players more of a reason to run kinetic damage type weapons, so instead of a blank kinetic slot damage boost, we're switching to a kinetic damage type boost based on whether your kinetic weapon uses primary or special ammo. Interesting. And increased the bonus significantly. Okay, let's see what we got. Kinetic primary weapon damage multiplier increased from 1.05 to 1.1. Kinetic special weapon damage multiplier increased from 1.05 to 1.15. Okay. Kinetic slot stasis weapons no longer have the extra 5% damage bonus versus unshielded targets in PvE. Interesting. Okay, that kind of sucks a little bit, but okay. There's also a kinetic damage type perk coming in Lightfall. That's going to be interesting to see. Okay, I'm pretty excited about that. Alrighty, down to exotics. I am very excited to see what all we got going on here. So, right into it. Just like many players, we wanted exotic weapons that have a strong theming around their damage type to use real subclass 3.0 verbs. And Lightfall's longer development and playtest cycle gave us the opportunity to add subclass verbs to many of the top picks, which is wonderful. I am very glad that they are doing that. Our goal with adding subclass 3.0 verbs is to grant the am I reading that right? Wait, is to this grant these that's a grammar. Okay, interesting. Additional functionality and let them tie into subclass builds in a more meaningful way. In most cases, this is also, or is paired with, a hefty buff. Wonderful. I love it. Starting out, we've got the Queenbreaker's blinding effects. It was underwhelming for a heavy weapon, so we've changed how that's deployed. Now, note that Queenbreaker's was also not affected by the global damage reduction to LFRs, making it substantially stronger in comparison. Okay, might have to break Queenbreaker's back out to see how it does now in comparison to everything else. Shot now chains to nearby enemies and uses Arc 3.0 blind. It chains, so kind of like Volt Shot maybe? I don't know, we'll have to look and see what that means specifically. Ruinous Effigy feels very voidy, and slamming the Transmutation Sphere was an obvious place to put an additional effect. Transmutation Sphere slam attack now suppresses. Oh my god, that's amazing. That's very fun. Okay, wow. Excuse me. Now it's going to take a minute probably to learn all of these, like for all of these different anti-champion abilities that we do have that are coming up. But it may not take as long as I'm thinking, which I don't think it's going to be terrible, but or like to learn, you know, the way these work and stuff. But I'm excited. I am super excited for the just several different options we're gonna have for champions next season. It's gonna be wonderful. Alrighty, the Leviathan's Breath buff from a few seasons back inadvertently reduced the PvP damage enough that it could no longer one-hit kill players and their super with a headshot. We fixed that. Oh, but also added Volatile. Increased the damage versus champions substantially to highlight its anti-champion role. Okay, Leviathan's Breath. May have to pull that back out. I think I do have the catalyst done, so that is going to be very, very interesting to see how that does turn out. Alrighty, now applies Volatile on perfect draw impacts. Increased damage from 396 to 442. Okay, allows it to once again one-hit kill all supers in PvP. Oh my word, that's awesome. Increased damage versus champions by 30%. Oh my god. Okay, wow. That's huge. That is a huge change that I am very excited about. I'm already seeing this next one. 1000 Voices was briefly a top pick in season 14, but has been eclipsed by other options since then. I still don't have it. I'm still salty about it. If you know, you know. Yeah, it's okay. I'll eventually get it. I hope to God we eventually get it. We wanted to lean even more into a chain of solar explosions by adding Scorch. And with the global heavy weapon changes, it's also a strong option. If you have Ember of Ashes equipped, landing a full burst on a single target will trigger an ignition immediately. Exact results may vary, depending on whether other players are also scorching a target. Okay, that's gonna be... Wow, that's actually really freaking cool. Each explosion now applies 10 plus 5 with Ember of Ashes Scorch stacks. Okay, nice. One of my favorite weapons to use. I absolutely love Sunshot. Like it's so good. It's such a good gun. I love it. Now it's not my all-time favorite gun, but I love the sound. I love the design. So many things about it, and this makes me excited. This is what I'm seeing here. Sunshot was a top candidate for applying Scorch subclass verbs, and the explosions are the clear place to add to. Explosion on kill now applies 10 plus 5 Scorch stacks. Okay, that's going to be awesome. That is going to be very cool to try out and very fun to see how all of that works. Polaris Lance always had a burn effect, so it was an obvious change to switch this to Scorch. Perfect 5th shots now apply 40 plus 20 Scorch stacks instead of a custom burn, which is... wow, okay, that's a lot. Which, I mean, that's the perfect 5th. That's gonna be DPS damage, so that's kind of crazy, actually. Now, on top of Anarchy, this one I am very excited for because, well, we'll get into it, we'll read it. Two-Toed Fox had a tough competition as a heavy exotic weapon, but now it's the only weapon that it can apply subclass verbs from multiple damage types without extra steps. Solar Rocket now applies 60 plus 30 Scorch stacks instead of burn. And the Void Rocket already applies Suppress, which is awesome. And the Catalyst that it doesn't have yet, completes the trifecta. So what I'm reading here is that this is going to add Arc to Two-Tailed Fox. That's very exciting. At least that's the way it's reading. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. But that's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm reading. Okay, yeah, I will take that. Yeah, that is awesome. Prometheus Lens has utility with its Solar 3.0 rework, but we wanted to give it something more spectacular on kills in addition. Added Incandescent to the perk Catalyst. That is freaking amazing. Let's go. Okay, alrighty. Grand Overture's latest buff, increasing the missile's damage by 50%, brought it up plenty. I just needed its blind updated to tie into Arc 3.0. Switched the Catalyst to use Arc Blind. Okay, that thing is already freaking nasty, so that's gonna be... oh, that's gonna be awesome against champions. Ooh, that thing already melts champions. Oh my god. Wow. That's gonna be freaking cool to use, dude. Oh my word. Alright. Hipfire reticles. We're starting to experiment with hipfire weapon reticles, conveying more information, and used the Manticore as a test bed for this. You can expect to see more weapon type or exotic weapon functionality showing up in hipfire reticles in Season 21 and beyond. Added a reticle element to the Manticore, showing current stacks of anti-grav repulsor. So is that talking about the thing on the left? Maybe? I don't know. Interesting. Well, if that's not already in the game, we'll have to wait and see what that is actually talking about. Very excited though. Let's see here. Alrighty, perks. Let's go ahead and move on to these. What we got here? With Strand coming to the game, along with the new Strand weapon damage perk, we've updated a couple of older perks. Osmosis now works with Strand. Wonderful. Elemental Capacitor now has the following effects when using a Strand subclass. Plus 20 airborne effectiveness. Plus 25 for the enhanced perk. Okay, wow. Rewind rounds will be appearing on more weapons in Lightfall. Very exciting. But was custom built to only work with Log weapon sets. We've tweaked it to be more general purpose. Awesome. Rebuilt to work on non-volatile glass weapons. Eager Edge had some bugs that needed addressing in a previous release. We've now taken the time to do a more complete rework, which also let us reduce or remove most of the restrictions that were in place. Thank you. That's wonderful. Excuse me. No longer deactivates when moving faster than 35 meters per second. Deactivates correctly after a single melee swing. Reduced the base lunge distance buff from 2 to 1.8. Okay, not bad. Reduced airborne lunge distance penalty from 25% to 20%. Okay, enhanced perk now increases lunge distance slightly, back up to 2. Okay, so that made it worth it again. Okay, very nice, very nice. Blinding grenades. On grenade launchers don't activate or don't do arc damage, so it's not appropriate for them to trigger Arc 3.0 blind effects. We didn't feel the need to change their disorienting effect though, so we've updated the name to overlapless. Renamed the blinding grenades to disorienting grenades. I'll take it. It makes it a lot clearer as to get rid of those verb confusions. Alrighty. Alright. Vice Stinger is one of the most desirable origin traits in the game, particularly, but not only, on LFRs, to the point where it makes it hard for non-viced weapons to compete. It needed some adjustment. With this change, it's still valuable, but more in line with other origin traits. This was typically a full reload when the perk activated, but now it only reloads 25% of the magazine. Very interesting. Alright. Bet you there's still got to be a workaround with that. Because, I mean, if you look at it, Fire and Forget, the newest LFR that we got this season, that's a Vice. It's a Vice weapon, but it's also an aggressive frame. From what I've seen, that does proc quite often, so maybe that's a workaround there? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see and kind of test it all out. Alrighty, that brings us to the end here. The future. We're already hard at work on seasons 21 and 22. Wow, okay. And some of the changes we're making include adding a full auto melee accessibility setting, which will apply to all forms of melee. A Passover weapon type. A Passover weapon type. What does that mean? And exotic weapon hipfire reticles. Is that a new weapon? Wait a minute, new weapon type? I don't know. Am I going crazy? I think I'm going crazy. Including increasing how visibly they change even at high FOV, and adding features like charge meters and exotic perk counters. We've also got balance changes in the works, but a little too early to get into them. We'll have more information to share post Lightfall. Alrighty, that was great. That was very nice. Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff to go over, and that's a whole lot of stuff that we did go over to kind of think on, all that kind of fun stuff. Let me know what you guys thought. Down in the comments below. Start a discussion down there. What you think about what's going on, what's to come. What you're excited for in these changes. Just Lightfall in general, all that kind of fun stuff, because as of today, we're only 27 days away from Lightfall, and I cannot wait. So we're going to be streaming it live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/cheesepuffgaming, and we'll try and have highlights of the streams, the daily streams, that week at least, up here on the channel for you guys to enjoy if you do miss out on the streams. But yeah, I do appreciate each and every one of you for watching as always, and be on the lookout for more content to come here soon, whether it's just going over stuff like this or general gameplay, that kind of fun stuff, weapon reviews, all that fun stuff. But yeah, as always, remember, it ain't easy being this cheesy. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch don't taste the same. It just tastes like dirt to me. Well, if dirt could be sweet, well, let me just think real quick, because if it could be sweet, I don't think I would want to eat it, because it's just still dirt. Cinnamon Toast Crunch just